Hey everyone, welcome back. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. I did. We partied last night at a 50th birthday party of one of our friends, and today I was sore. I haven't danced this much in a long time, so I've definitely felt it this morning, probably also because I probably had a little bit too much to drink, but it was fun. You got to get out sometimes and have a little fun. But we have a couple things to talk about here. So we got DeepSeek to talk about tonight. What kind of impact could that have on the miners? We'll get into it. So we'll get into the details of what DeepSeek is. It's actually kind of interesting to take a look at it, but we'll get into that. We'll also take a look at the miners, how they did last week against Bitcoin. It wasn't too great of a week for them, so we'll look at that, and we'll get into your guys' Q&A. Should be pretty short and sweet, I would hope so. We'll see. We'll see how long the Q&A goes and everything else. But as always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been down this weekend. It's been going down ever since, well, kind of Friday. We had Friday, we were down just a little bit here. Saturday, we were down quite a bit on it. We were down, what was it, 2.07%. We were down to $102,056, $563, sorry. On that one, we were down again here on the, or actually, sorry. This was Saturday. Saturday we were down. Friday we were up. Saturday we were up. Yeah, Friday we were down just a little bit here, 0.111%. I'm getting mixed up here. And then today we were down 2.07%. And then on the new day for Monday, we're down another 1.16% here. So we've been heading downwards all weekend for the most part. We'll see how it looks tomorrow. Tomorrow might actually be the reverse of this. So we might actually bounce here a little bit on it. Once the markets open up and everything else, we'll see how things go. I know right now things are now probably looking pretty good on the extended hours trading for some of the miners. So that's going to be the case. We'll see where they open up tomorrow morning and what Bitcoin actually does. The good thing is Bitcoin is still above the 100,000 range here. So that's at least holding up for the time being. We'll see if we come close to that and bounce off of that, or if we just maybe bottomed out here right now and bounce. Time will tell. We don't know. But tomorrow we'll definitely get some more clues as far as which direction we're heading into. If we don't hold that 100,000 mark, then yeah, we'll probably be coming down to the 50 simple day moving average here. So if we hold that, if we don't hold that, then there's always the possibility that we could come down to the 100 simple day moving average, which is right there during the week, possibly. So those are the places kind of to look at to see what's going on there. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, right? A lot of talk about tariffs, countries that are not playing ball with the United States as far as what is it called? Repatriating illegals or something like that. So there's some stuff going on there. So there's some fear in the markets right now. We'll see how that all plays out tomorrow in the markets and in Bitcoin and the miners as well. Right now, Bitcoin is still kind of trending more or less sideways on the hash rate part of it. On the 7-day average, we are at 775 right now. Yeah, exahash more or less. On the 30-day average, we are still trading sideways more or less on that one as well. We are at 786 exahash still. So no new highs here have been reached here recently, which is kind of nice. Gives the miners a chance to kind of make a lot more money because of it. Because if we have the network hash rate going up, that means the difficulty is going to go up as well, which means the miners are going to generate less. So right now we're kind of in the sideways pattern as well, not only with Bitcoin, but also with the network hash rate as well. Okay, so there's that information that I wanted to share with you guys really quick. And then let's get into the main story that we do have here today, which is going to be on the DeepSeek. But first, Bitcoin's still up 7.97% on the month of January. We have a couple more days left to go before it's the end of the month here, and we're into February. We have basically, approximately maybe 5 more days left, something like that, 5 to 4 days left. So not a lot of days left. We'll see where we end up the month here in January on it. And then Bitcoin ETF inflows here last week was actually a pretty good week. We had overall positive inflows every single day. And we saw that with Bitcoin price here a little bit as well, where that was going up throughout the week here more or less on it, except for we had one day that was down, which was Wednesday. But other than that, we were going up, so that coincides with that as well. All right, let's talk about DeepSeek. So DeepSeek came out, I think it was late December, that they provided a AI model similar to OpenAI and they did it at a much lower cost. They came out with a new model here just recently, the 26th, which I think was today maybe. Yeah, today as well. I think today or the 24th. I can't remember which date it was. But they came out with a new model here, and this is DeepSeek here right now. So DeepSeek R1 is now live and open source, rivaling OpenAI's Model 01. Available on web, app, and API. Click for details, right? This is a Chinese-based company that got funded by a venture capitalist basically there. And they were able to do this with a lot less resources because the United States has imposed basically, it's not tariffs, it's not, what do they impose? Restrictions on type of advanced HPC AI hardware that they could possibly get there. So they were a little bit tied behind their backs, but not much. They still had some of the H100 servers there, or H100 GPUs, sorry, to do that. And let's take a look at the article here. This is from Forbes here. So NVIDIA stock may fall as DeepSeek's amazing AI model disrupts OpenAI. So this is not really to go into NVIDIA, whether or not it's going to fall. This is just taking a look at the actual story there, what's happening with DeepSeek, how were they able to do all of this, and still at a much lower cost as well. How will that impact actually the miners here that are getting into HPC AI, like TeraWulf, BitDeer. We also have IREN getting into it, Cypher potentially, Hive, Hut8, and others as well, right? Those are some of the ones that are getting into it. But here's what we have. So let me close this out. So this proves a basic reason why startups are often more successful than large companies. Scarcity spawns innovation, right? So they were, like I said, they were restricting Chinese access to NVIDIA's most advanced AI chips, right? Which was what the United States did back in 2022. And they were still able to do this with, like I said, basically a one-hand tied behind their back. But that also spawns innovation, right? It makes you dig deep into the bowels, I guess you could say, of hardware, software, and how that all works together. And if you can find inefficiencies and fix those inefficiencies, you're going to do even better going forward. So this is definitely very interesting here. A case in point is the Chinese AI model DeepSeek R1, a complex problem-solving model competing with OpenAI's O1, which zoomed to the global top 10 in performance, yet was built with far more rapidly, with fewer, less powerful AI chips at much lower cost, according to the Wall Street Journal. Right. So what does that mean for the space going forward? There's some ramifications for this possibly, because the thinking here in the past has been that you need all of this compute power and all these megawatts and everything else in order to run these types of AI models, to create large language models and things like that. That now seems to be null and void, more or less. We could do with a lot less megawatts and a lot less computing power potentially if they do these types of efficiency gains and bringing down the software stack and the hardware stack all in closer together possibly. So that's something to think about there, right? And then here, the success of the R1 should benefit enterprises. That's because companies see no reason to pay more for an effective AI model when a cheaper one is available and is likely to improve more rapidly. All right, so there's two ways to maybe look at this, I think. One is that, okay, if you need far less data center space or data centers, HPC clusters, that's going to be good because you can then possibly put more into those data centers as well, or at least get more out of those data centers as well. But it's kind of twofold. And the other part of it would be that maybe we don't need as many HPC AI data centers. What if you could do far more with far less? So there's kind of two ways to possibly look at it, right? How much more of a demand we could possibly see from this, if this is the case, where you could have a lot more of these models being run at the same time with far fewer machines than having these huge clusters that, you know, you're only running one model on. Okay, so there's one thing to think about there. OpenAI's model is the best in performance, but we also don't want to pay for capacities we don't need. Anthony Pu, co-founder of Silicon Valley-based startup using generative AI to predict financial returns, told the Journal. And that's true, right? Sometimes you don't need the best. You can have maybe the second best or the third best and still do very well in this space. So that's also something to think about there. Last September, Pu's company shifted from Anthropic's cloud to DeepSeek, After tests showed DeepSeek performed similarly for around 1/4 of the cost. And that's huge savings there, right? If they can do that, that's definitely worth it for them. And if it costs DeepSeek far, far less in millions to get this up and running, that's a huge advantage there possibly as well. And they also open sourced it. So it's kind of like, why would you get into this? Here, DeepSeek's success could encourage new rivals to US-based large language models developers. If these startups build powerful AI models with fewer chips and get improvements to market faster, NVIDIA revenue could grow more slowly as LLMs developers replicate DeepSeek's strategy of using fewer, less advanced AI chips. I don't think that's really a concern there. I think you can still use the more advanced chips, but then you can do a lot more of these kind of training models than you would with just, so how can I put this to you guys? So let's say you need 10,000 GPUs. I think that's kind of what they've wrote in here. In the article down below, I think that's included in there. Somewhere around like 10,000 H100s or something like that they had in here. And they were able to do this at a much lower cost, much faster time frame as well. If you have 100,000 GPUs, could you then run like 10 of these models simultaneously and, figure out what things aren't working? So I think there's going to be maybe more innovation happening here if you can do that with fewer, basically. Right? Going down here. To be fair, DeepSeek's technology lags that of US rivals such as OpenAI and Google. However, the company's R1 model, which launched January 20th, okay, so that was the 20th, not the 24th, is a close rival despite using fewer and less advanced chips, and in some cases, skipping steps that US developers consider essential, noted the journal. All right, so what steps are those? I'm not sure. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not an AI expert here. Therefore, businesses are excited about the prospects of lowering the investment required. Since R1's open source model works so well and is so much less expensive than ones from OpenAI and Google, enterprises are keenly interested, rightfully so, right? And then how so? R1 is the top training model being downloaded on Hugging Face, 109,000 according to VentureBeat, and matches OpenAI's 01 at just 3% to 5% of the cost. So that's huge savings there. R1 also provides a search feature users judge to be superior to the OpenAI and Perplexity, and is only rivaled by Google's Gemini Deep Research, noted VentureBeat. Okay, so they have some advantages there as well. DeepSeek developed R1 more quickly and at a much lower cost. DeepSeek said it trained one of its latest models for only 5.6 million, far less than the 100 million to 1 billion range. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei cited in 2024 as the cost to train its models. The journal, that's it. All right, that's a huge cost advantage and savings there, right? 5.6 million compared to 100 million, even to 100 million. But if it's a 1 billion, oh my gosh. So if you can do this at a much lower cost, that is going to be huge for the industry in whole, but it also could mean that we don't need as much of the data centers potentially. So something to think about there. To train its V3 model, DeepSeek used a cluster of more than 2,000 NVIDIA chips compared with tens of thousands of chips for training models of similar size, noted the journal. Okay, that's also really substantial number there, decrease in the amount needed. And then independent analysts from Chatbot Arena, a platform hosted by UC Berkeley, researchers rated V3 and R1 models in the top 10 for chatbot performance on January 25th, the journal wrote there, right? So that's definitely boding very well for DeepSeek right now in comparison to what other companies have spent, hundreds of millions or billions of dollars potentially. Microsoft is very impressed with DeepSeek's accomplishments. To see the DeepSeek new model, it's super impressive in terms of both how they have really effectively done an open source model that does the inference time compute and is super compute efficient, right? This is from Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft. Said January 22nd at the World Economic Forum, we should take the developments out of China very, very seriously, right? He's even talking about it. He's like, yeah, this is right. How is it that they were able to do this with so much less than what is available here in the United States and elsewhere? So that is a concern there. It's a concern because they're wasting money possibly, right? If they can do this at a much lower cost, are they going to do that? Heck yeah. And does that also translate to them possibly saying, well, we don't need these huge 1 gigawatt sites potentially. We can do this with maybe 200 megawatts or 300 megawatts, whatever it might be, and still get the benefits of developing these kind of models potentially. So that's one of my concerns there. Will DeepSeek's success throttle NVIDIA's growth rate? I don't know, said the writer here. However, based on my research, business Businesses clearly want powerful generative AI models that pay off. As enterprise seeks high payoff generative AI applications, they will be able to do more experiments if the cost and time build for those applications is lower, which I also agree there, right? If the costs come down, you can do more potentially with it and actually fine-tune things here and there and see which one is actually working better for you, much quicker, much faster as well. That's why R1's lower cost and shorter time to perform well should continue to attract more commercial interest. A key to DeepSeek's ability to deliver what businesses want is its skill at optimizing less powerful GPUs, which cost less than the state-of-the-art chips. That's true there, right? If you could do it if you do it with like regular standard GPUs that are available, well, maybe like the higher grade GPUs that are available for gaming and things like that, if you could do that on those as well, which are much, much lower cost than what you would be paying for like an H100 or a B200, or even now the Blackwell chips that are going to be coming out later on this year from NVIDIA, right? Could you do that at a much lower cost? Sure. All right. If more startups can replicate what DeepSeek has accomplished, there could be less demand for NVIDIA's most expensive chips, which is true at that point. But the big thing here is space. Do you really need this much HPC AI data center space like we've been told here? And that's a concern for me. And the concern goes back to, well, if you don't need all the space, how much will that actually translate over to some of the miners that are going into HPC AI, like IREN, now Riot as well, Hut 8, who else is in there? Hive, and then there's Cypher in there as well, BitDeer as well. So that's definitely an interesting development that we're seeing here right now playing out. But I don't know how it's going to play out. We'll have to wait and see if we see it change in the way that some of these hyperscalers are going to be going forward with some of their developments on HPC AI basically. But based on this, it's telling me that you're going to need far less than what we originally thought maybe. And that would be obviously an impact on the stocks of those companies because, well, if you don't need that 1 gigawatt site and they only need 300 megawatts or something like that to do the same thing, well, that's going to be definitely less revenue potentially there. So something to keep in mind and be mindful of going forward with all these guys that are going into HPC AI because, computing and HPC AI is changing rapidly here. So we have to kind of stay abreast of what's going on and stay on top of it as much as we can, because advances are happening all over the place. And this is one of those sectors that's not immune from it as well. So we'll see how it goes, okay? But let me know what you guys think of it down in the comments and in the Q&A side of things here. But just something I wanted to share with you guys here, and those are just my thoughts here. I could be completely wrong on this, and we still have all of these HPC AI data centers that are going to be built out for 1 gigawatt plus, and we're going to have however many of those are going to be going up. But based on just what I'm reading here, we might need less. But we'll see. All right, let's get back into the screen here, and let's take a look at DeepSeek really well as well. So you can see here's DeepSeek V3 in comparison to Llama, GPT 4.0 here, Quan, Claude as well, and you can see the scores that it's getting here. And on some of these things, it is scoring better than others as well. So that is very impressive, being able to do that. So do not take this lightly, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. We'll see how this plays out, more or less. All right, next here, miners versus Bitcoin for the past week. So we always look at this chart as well. This is the chart for the miners from the 52-week lows, how high they have come up here, and also how far away are they from the 52-week highs as well. Right. Core still is the best performer here right now, right? Core has a huge deal with CoreWeave, which is going to trying to become like a HPC AI hyperscaler comparable to what Amazon is, AWS, Google, Azure, Meta, all those guys as well. So they've been doing very well here this past 52 weeks, followed by, you got Hut 8 here, numbers 2 spot, 310% up. And then you got TeraWolf, 307%, BitDeer, 295%, and IREN, 274%, right? These are all guys that are going in for HPC AI on that one. You got Cypher up 148%, Bitcoin's up 136%, Riot 113%, Marathon 51%, along with Cleanspark at close to 51%, Hive at 41%, and Bitfarms at 10%. So some of the more traditional Bitcoin miners that are, well, Riot's kind of moving over into the HPCI business as well, or at least looking to do that. They have hired a consultancy firm to look for basically a HPCI interest there. But the other guys here have been predominantly Bitcoin miners, right? And you can see the difference there on how companies that have talked about HPC AI or getting into HPC AI have outperformed these guys here in the past 52 weeks. Okay, and then that's how far away they are from their 52-week highs here, with Bitfarms being the furthest away at 58%, followed by Cleanspark at 53%, and then we had Hive at 44%, Marathon at 41% away from their 52-week highs. Now, for last week, how did the miners do against Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin was actually down 5%, so I track Friday to Friday, and it did not have a good week here. IREN was the best performing here. It was up 11%, even though it came out with an ATM for $1 billion. It crashed on that news. Then it, for the last 2-3 days, it actually went up in price, which was kind of nice to see. Cypher was up 9%, CORZ was up 7%, Riot was up only 1%, Marathon was flat. BitDeer, TerraWolf were down 1%, Cleanspark and Bitfarms and Hut 8 and Hive were all down 3% roughly, and Bitcoin was down 5%. So pretty much everybody has outperformed Bitcoin here, just marginally. On it, some were actually up much higher than that. On the 4-week chart, we can see things definitely changed. Bitcoin's up 1% here on the 4 weeks. And we got pretty much a lot of companies here outperforming that. IREN 17%, Riot up 10%, Hut 8 up 8%. And then we got Cypher at 6, Core at 4, a couple at 2, Marathon, and TerraWolf were both at 2. And then we had BitDeer down 21%, Bitfarms was down 5%, and Hive was down 7%. From 4 weeks ago, 8 weeks, things look a little bit more different again. Bitcoin's down 1%. Everybody else is down for the most part. Nobody has outperformed except for Riot. Riot being up 5% here from 8 weeks ago. And then when we look at from 12 weeks ago, Bitcoin's up 29% here. Hut outperformed by 33% here. And BitDeer was up 131% from there. And IREN was up 21%. Everybody else was just 4% for Riot Marathon. Everybody else was down right now. So it has not been a great 12 weeks for us, unfortunately. And then going down here, you can see on the table how things played out. We had a very, very nice week. The prior week, everything was in the green. This last week, not so much, but that's kind of how things are stacking up right now. All right, we'll call it a day and get into your Q&A side of things here. So if you guys have any questions, if not, we'll have a nice short stream tonight. All right, let's get back into it here. Where do I want to go? Q&A. That's where I wanted to go. Let's see what's going on here with Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin's 101,000. Okay, so it's only down 1.51% right now. Not bad. Let's see. I'm going to scroll over here. And then as always, if you guys could preface a question with a question mark, I'll get to all your guys' questions and then we'll work our way down. I'm going to roll up here a little bit to see if there's any questions up top that I might have missed already. And I see you guys have been commenting here on it. Let's see here. Trying to find some. Okay, I see a question here. Okay, here we go. All right, so is DeepSeek bad for HPC AI miners but good for pure play miners? Well, for pure play miners, it's basically the same old with them. It's just mining as best as they can. Great operations, great things. Bitcoin going up, so that's going to drive their values up. But it might be, I'm not sure exactly yet, but it might be a little bit of a concern for the HPC AI guys. As far as how much demand is actually going to be there if a lot of these other companies like Google, Meta, AWS, even CoreWeave possibly, if they utilize some of these, utilize some of those things that DeepSeek did to make it more efficient, right? They could use less hardware that way to do the same things basically. So that might be a little bit of concern there. All right. Let's see. My phone is about to die. LOL. What's your bottom point of DeepSeek effect on IREN? Well, that's going to be interesting to watch and see how it plays out. I don't know. Based on just what I've read here, right, what I've told you guys about, I'm guessing there might be not as, there might be, I'm getting ahead of myself. And I'm rambling on here, so sorry. But basically, there's going to be demand for HPC AI, but is that demand going to be a little bit more subdued than what we were thinking it's going to be? So that's a concern there. All right, let's see. Will Mara ever get back to $30? Yeah, I believe it will. Right, if Bitcoin goes to 200,000, it should definitely get back to $30. Okay. What else do we have here? Other questions? So I'm trying to peruse the questions and comments here. The Chinese claims about DeepSeek are likely an attempt to destabilize our markets and rattle us. The Chinese government lies about everything. But not if it's verified by other third parties, right? So there's DeepSeek is available as an open source. So you do have the ability to download it and you can try it out yourself. And that's what I believe it's happening right now, is just being verified that it is that possibly good. Okay. Heinze has a question here. It seems like many are complaining about miners. Why aren't people selling, avoiding sellers' remorse? Yeah, I mean, there's always a lot of, depending on the market where Bitcoin's at and everything else, there's always people that are going to be complaining about the miners. They're not performing well. They haven't performed well this past, I would say, probably 6 months or so. After the halving event, it was not good for us. And they haven't really run up here like we thought they were going to run up. So, yeah, they're definitely not performing like we thought. Okay. Is DeepSeek, if true, a win for AMD over NVIDIA? Well, maybe if you look at it that way, that you don't need to buy the higher grade HPC AIs to train their models. You could do with lower grade models, maybe. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out, though. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let's see here. Going over here. Impact on Trump's tariffs on BTC and other risks assets. Well, there's no. I mean, how are you gonna put tariffs on BTC? I mean, you can move that around like nothing, right? So I don't see how that's going to happen there. And other risks on assets. The only thing that we might see is what do you say? Tariffs on Canada and Mexico, where they were like supposed to be like 25% or something like that, but that was just to secure the borders there. I think that was just a tactic used to get them to the table and say, hey, you got to secure borders and things like that. China is supposed to get 10%, so that's going to impact the miners with the ASICs possibly coming in. But if they're manufactured in other countries, that can be really an issue there, and then imported here in the United States, that should be they will probably be able to subvert that. Okay. Let's see. Hard Knock says, I don't trust anything said from China, and a couple of weeks ago, quantum computing was the big FUD, and that's a way off, like the NVIDIA CEO said, all FUD, in my opinion. Well, the couple of weeks ago, that was actually from Google. Google came out with a new chip that was really good for the quantum computing there. So I don't know if that was from China, but I think it was what Google actually started that. I think it was their Willow chip, I think they called it. Okay, let's see. Seb, I think we need more time to see if DeepSeek can actually change anything for HPC. Personally, I'm not too worried right now. Yeah, that would, we need to see how this plays out. But the ramifications could be big there if it does play out based on what we've seen here from DeepSeek. Right? If they can do all these things with less machines and maybe not as powerful machines, and still have the same kind of rating, more or less, on the AI side of things, then that's kind of rough, I think, for a lot of people. I think it's definitely been a wake-up call. I mean, you can see it in a comment from Satya Nadella from Microsoft, right? There's definitely a little wake-up call there. Okay, what else do I have here? Question. Cleanspark is the lowest cost, fastest growth, pure play miner that has totally avoided HPC, correct? Well, they have avoided HPC, but I wouldn't say that they are the lowest cost. There are other miners that have a slightly lower cost than they do, but they're very low cost. I would say that. They have been definitely one of the fastest growing, along with like IREN there. But they're, I would say, like top 3, 4 that are growing the fastest, low cost, things like that. Yeah. Let's see here. So if hyperscalers think they, let me see, where was it? So if hyperscalers rethink their planned spending, Cleanspark could care less. Yeah, I mean, for Cleanspark, it doesn't have any impact on them. They don't have any HPC ambitions, I guess you could say. What's your favorite BTC miner currently? For me, it's still Cleanspark, followed by IREN, and then we could possibly get into, I would say, well, Riot was going to be my next one, or actually Marathon, then Riot. was going to be on top of that as well. Bitfarms right now, I'm trying to see where they're going with things, but Bitfarms was like my number 3 for a long time. But I need to see how they're doing going forward here. Okay, let's see. Focusing on Riot, after all the recent news and changes, where do you see Riot's price per share high for 2025? I think 3 weeks ago you said it could be 50 plus. Still feel the same way. I know they're decreasing what they're going to be mining as far as hash rate growth this year. Not happy about that. They've paused basically the growth there for this year until they maybe get some more concrete news on potential HPC customers there. But if they get an HPC customer, that could offset some of the things for Bitcoin mining. So I think it's still possible for them. It's a little bit more challenging though, because if you do get an HPC customer, that's going to take a while to build out, but the hype alone on that could pump the stock up higher. So let's see here. Seb, have you spoken on Riot yet? I have not, so just covered it right now. Question, Trump is buying wrapped Bitcoin, which really has nothing to do with actual spot Bitcoin. It's just a complex Ethereum scam. Why would Trump buy that and not spot Bitcoin? I think it's just trying to keep separate from the actual Bitcoin. If they do a strategic Bitcoin reserve, I think there might be some legalities to it there, but I'm not a legal expert on presidents and their investing strategies, how those work out. Let's see here. Do you think we'll see a spring here before next leg up? Gosh, I would imagine so. That would be the case, but you never know. We could go down lower before we go up higher. Let's see, will Bitfarms increase the hash rate this time? We're talking about January. I'm hoping so. I want to see that obviously when it comes out on February 1st. So we'll see what that is. Okay. Let's see. Omar says, minor short data release tomorrow. Yeah, we'll take a look at it tomorrow as well. When that comes out, we'll do a video on it. See how that's comparing to the prior 2 weeks. Which miners ran up mainly on HPC AI hopes? I have Bitdeer, Hut 8, Ryan, IREN, Cypher. Those guys have kind of already ran up on that. Bitdeer, Hut for sure. Riot a little bit. IREN a little bit as well. Cypher not so much yet. All right, let's see. There's news that China sold 20 billion in BTC. Is that true? Are they done selling? We didn't really cover it. I have not seen anything on that, Omar. Let me know where you're getting that from. I haven't seen anything on that, but I could have missed it also. Let's see. Gary has a question here. Based on past results, can we assume without proof that everything China tells us is accurate? Have they always proven trustworthy in the past with everything? No, but it's not China. I mean, you're talking about Chinese government. This isn't Chinese government. This is somebody, an investment firm that's doing it. The hedge fund basically got into it. And if the models are open and available, open sourced, and you can verify it, I mean, it's not really much that you can really complain about there. If you can verify, third parties are verifying it right now. Okay, let's see your price targets for Mawson and Cleanspark 2025. If we have a nice bull run here and Bitcoin goes parabolic for us to 200,000 plus, I could definitely see these guys being, Cleanspark definitely like at least $50 plus. Mara possibly even higher than that if they get actually valued on their hodl position, which should happen if Bitcoin runs on that. So that's kind of where I would see things. Let's see. Not a question, but I think this could be very bullish. It means China is now our competitor. It will significantly increase our production in AI growth, and we are highly competitive. Yeah, I mean, the United States is very highly competitive. There's a lot of developments, a lot of new things coming out of the United States, inventions, things like that, whether it's software-based, whether it's anything else based, right? So United States is the home of innovation, I think. And we will not let this go lying down, I don't think. But the big thing is, for some of these miners here, is do we need all of these data centers and the size of these data centers to do what could possibly be done at like 1/5 of the scale, possibly. But even at that point, I think we're still going to grow, but just maybe less than what we thought. So that's just a thought there. Okay. See. Question unrelated, but Canary just filed for a LTC ETF and Grayscale filed to convert their trust and filed the same day. Do you think this affects a play on premium pushing the Grayscale trust down to its NAV? Possibly. Yeah, if that's the case, yeah, that might be what's going on there. And then Omar has a comment question. BTC has tested 100,000 level 4 times past 10 days, holding the level as support. Asian Open usually is down for some reason, as today. Options expire weekly and monthly. Will this be Friday? Will be this Friday. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, as long as we can hold 100,000 here, I think we should be okay, right? If we don't hold that and it actually goes down below that, like I said, we might be testing some of the lower lines here. Definitely testing the 50-day simple moving average. If that doesn't hold, we might be going down here, which we see here back in Monday here. Hopefully you guys can hear that. I had to sneeze. But we tested, I mean, we were now below the simple 100-day moving average here on that one, but that one's gone up here recently. So that might be our next support here possibly as well at 91,000. I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens. On the RSI, I mean, things don't look too bad right now on the daily. Daily has been coming down here over the last couple of days. We're back down to 51. 51 back here was actually priced lower, so we're actually higher in price than we were before. Let's take a look at the 50-minute chart really quick. And that one's been going down like crazy. Okay. But yeah, that one's definitely looking pretty rough here. Let me see. RSI has been going up, but price has been actually coming down on it. I think we maybe are bottoming out on the 15-minute chart. 1 hour chart, we definitely are possibly bottoming out on that. So we might actually bounce here tomorrow. We'll see on that one. Oh, sorry. Got another sneezing attack here happening tonight. Something tickles my nose and then I go crazy. All right, let's go back to the Q&A. Excuse me. Okay. Do you think this news could push Trump to try and increase the funding for AI Stargate? I mean, you try to increase it, but it's not his decision, right? It's SoftBank, it's the other parties that are in there as well that are funding it, so it's not just up to him. Wow, I gotta sneeze again. All right. What are the chances that illegal labor had been used either on the construction or maintenance of these U.S. miners? Which executive orders impact the miners the most? I doubt that there were. Well, I don't know for a fact, but I wouldn't think that they would have hired illegal labor there. But you never know, right? If you use third parties, most of the time these guys use like union labor and things like that, possibly. But you never know. Which laws could have an impact on the miners the most? Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I've only read a couple of the executive orders here recently, but I haven't seen anything that would impact them hugely. The crypto one was pretty good. HPC AI was a good one as well, so I'm not sure on that one. Let's see. Michael says the futures are selling off hard with QQQ down 400 points. Wow, okay. That's not good. Wow. Gee, sorry. Allergies have kicked in for some reason. I hate it when they do that at night. They'll go on for about 30 minutes and then they'll go away. And they'll be good for a couple of more days. Do you think the inflation will get worse if Trump delivers no taxes on tips and inflation is bad for BTC price? They're going to try and... I'm sure they don't want inflation, right? They're going to try and keep that to a minimum or actually make it go down here. Bear with me here. I got to take a sneeze again. Okay. Back to it. Where did I go? I went there. Oh, okay. Let's bring it back up here. But, and inflation is bad. Yeah, inflation is bad for BTC. We need the money printer to go brr again, I guess. Which miner has the best fundamentals regardless of price, market cap, valuation? That would probably be, right now, fundamentals, I would say Hive. Hive is definitely way undervalued from where it should be, followed by Bitfarms, but there's things going on with those two companies there, more so with Bitfarms than in Hive. And after that, you got probably IREN, Cleanspark, Mara at that point, in Riot as well. Okay. Let's see. Just based on feel and no pressure from your point of view, are miners going to be up or down on the week by Friday? Oh, man. Yeah, I wish I had a crystal ball for that one. Yeah, that one's not going to be easy. I would think, being that they were down last week, that they might be actually up this week. But we'll see. Have you discovered any relation with call options purchase on the Russell and Cleanspark price increase? You're talking about the Russell 3000 there, I think, right? There is some, well, not just with Cleanspark, but I think with some of the miners there's definitely some correlation there. Trump also hurting markets with all the taxes on countries. Yeah, that's not helping things either right now. And then just based on feel, do you think the miners will finish? Okay, we covered that one already. Let's see here. China having hearing on companies which could be going under. Okay, interesting there. Let's see here. Where do I want to go? I want to go over here really quick because I got to sneeze again. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right, sorry about that. My nose is dripping and sneezing, and I got another sneeze coming up. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Why does it happen at night? Okay. Here we are with Bitcoin right now. Let's see if there's any other questions left. If not, we'll call it a day. Let's see. Let's see. Why do you never talk about Bit Digital? I talked about them last week. They got some more business last week. Oh my gosh. Sorry about that. Talked about them last week. They're definitely one of the smaller miners, right? That's why they've kind of been pushed down to the small miner side of things because of lack of growth in Bitcoin mining. But they've been doing really well with HPC AI. Smaller contracts, smaller time frames, but they're just executing on those really well. So we still cover them. Do you think what Trump did with his meme coins should be legal? I mean, they're legal to do, right? But should he have done it? Probably not. That's just my take on it. It does kind of throw a little shade on the space a little bit there, I guess you could say. But yeah, this is not something that I don't know who even told him to do that. It was one of his companies that he's a part of, but yeah, who knows? But I'm not for it. Let's see. Oh, what else do we have here? Okay, Michael says another big outbreak on chicken meat in Georgia, which will make chicken go up on bird flu virus. Okay, yeah. Andrea, thank you so much. Yeah, remember to hit the like button if you guys enjoy it. Is this news going to affect pure play miners? No. So you're talking about DeepSeek? No. Pure play miners will have no issues with this. It's just any potential going forward for some of the miners that are going to HPC AI, that could have an impact on those because you may not need as much HPC AI data centers to do the same thing, right? So that's kind of thing there. Okay, we'll call it a day here because my nose is starting to run like crazy and I'm sniffling, and that probably sounds pretty bad here in the video. So we're going to stop. And my eyes are starting to water too. So we'll see where things go tomorrow with the miners, everything else. We'll do the short report tomorrow as well, as long as I get the data tomorrow as well. And anything else that covers. All right. But I wish you guys a great week. We'll see how things play out for us this week. It's the last week in January. We'll see where we end on that note. And then we'll see what February brings us as far as updates for January for the miners as well. Okay. So some things coming up here. Should be kind of interesting. All right. But other than that, wish you all, like I said, happy week, great week. Love you all. I'll see you guys tomorrow.